magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group High Slick and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine Ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. In the darkest of nights, gonna let my light shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. I'm becoming fearless. What is up, everyone? It's your main man, Frank Castle. That's right. It's your Sorcerer Supreme right here each and every Saturday night on YouTube. Frank Castle's Fearless. And I'm joined by my ethereal translator who's off camera for some strange reason.
I don't know why.
Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone. It's off by a lot. Weird.
See?
Better.
Well, I'm not on camera now.
Oh.
See how that works? How you guys doing tonight? Oh, look at that, Paula. You made the whole mic come down. Say hello to everyone while I fix this.
Hello, everyone. Last show of the year. Sad. Exciting. Sad.
Only you, Paula.
Is it my fault that happened?
Yes.
It is my fault.
It's always your fault.
My fault, I guess.
How you guys doing? I hope you had a great Christmas holiday. I wonder, there's always
Are you going the right way?
Oh, yeah. I am going the right way. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I hope everything's been going well for you. We love you guys very much. Thank you so much for being here and spending your time with us. I do that every time.
You know, everything is my fault always.
And just enjoy yourself. So you see, I switched Paula's mic out, and now she's like edging over the top of the mic. But we're making some changes a little bit at a time. We always want to get a little better each time. Hopefully you heard the music tonight. We've been a little thrown off by the holiday because it really messed us up. We, you have it in your mind and you think you want to be able to do something and enjoy yourself a certain way around everyone in your family. We can do it, and we can, and then you mentally plan for it and you charge up and get ready. And then immediately upon entering the home of your family, fall completely short. Everything you've planned for, trained for, saw in your mind, dreamt of, thought it would be is exactly opposite. And there's nothing you can do to hold on to that. And it separates and slides away. Anyone else? Shout outs to my Fearless family. Since Paul is at a loss for words, I want to say I love each and every one of you so much. And don't forget to check out IamWeAreFearless.com for all the latest and greatest designs from the Fearless artists from all over the world who've come together to put this stuff together and, make that collaboration of it all becoming one. How you doing?
I'm good. I realize that the holidays bring out the best.
Are you dressed like me again?
You know what? I didn't even realize it until you just looked down. But I had this shirt on for a while. Well,
me
so
too.
Did you. So stupid. All right. Yeah, I think the holidays are just it was bittersweet. Grandma's not here. It's the bittersweet feeling, and I don't want to say any more than that about it. It's just it'll never be the same.
Have your dreams been more than normal dreams lately?
No, but yours have.
Yes,
and I
they
know that.
have.
Yeah.
Is anyone experiencing the dream world where it becomes, I like it better the way I have it now. Look at that. Like you ain't moving it. Where you're in the dream and the dream is real and you can't tell the difference. Is this here? Is this there? You maybe forget about here and this is where it's at now. But one after another, in my family at least, it's been happening one at a time. To bring grandma back into the frame.
Oh yeah, she's been popping up a lot of places.
Yeah, now go figure. Those that said, I really don't know about what you guys say on FearLess, you and Paula, but because my brother, he told me once, you're stone cold crazy, except I'm watching you and this confidence and this other thing that happened to you, you look good. And I can't, it's like the proof is there. So whatever it is that you believe in or whatever it is you're doing now, it's working. So keep up the good work. But at the same time, he's like, I have kids. I don't want to hear about reptilians. I literally don't want to know that's out there. Like, it's frightening. And it's crazy. And honestly, I don't know if this is true. I would have thought by now you'd went through at 45, buy a Corvette or something and, go through that midlife crisis thing. I'm like, I didn't have a crisis. I had an awakening instead of a crisis. You might see it as a crisis because your whole world is shattering, and I'm gonna have to do something with this. So it becomes maybe a crisis at first. Oh, look what's there. But if your life was so bad or boring or not working up to this point, then this should be great news. It should be actually the best news. Do you know when I saw?
But it should, right?
If you meet Source, aren't you like, oh, you're there? This is great.
Well, I'm always there. I'm always there.
A lot of the new movies we've been watching are faith-based. Everything's faith-based now. So it's like Paul is suddenly twirled right into the spotlight. Like, well, that's my word. Been saying it the whole time.
Just trust me.
If there was one word that you can use for Paula, she would be someone with lots of faith. So much faith that you don't even need to question it. Not with her. Even if she forgets about it and goes into the background, it just goes into that category. Well, this is the faith. The leap of faith doesn't happen just once. It's an ongoing thing over and over again.
Over and over and over again. Every minute of every day.
But see, what happens, those that don't experience this stuff, when they begin to, right, they see Frank and they're like, well, he's crazy. But then you're hanging out with him and you're like, there's nothing crazy about him. He's actually on, he's normal. He's on point. This is what normal is, right? Being a creator. And they say the proof is in the pudding. We live a good life. We're happy.
Yeah. We have a nice family.
We're headed, we're on that optimum timeline. Yeah, the right direction. And then something metaphysical, spiritual happens to that person. And here we are tonight. Okay, so he tells me, I need to talk to you, man. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead, man. Tell me what's up. And he's like, have you ever had a dream where you're in the dream and the dream was so real that you forgot about this place and you were there and it was just real and you couldn't tell the difference, even when there's weird stuff happening there? So he said,
this is your brother.
Yes, this is my brother. He said, I'm in the kitchen, our kitchen at grandma's, and I'm cooking. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And I turn around and grandma is in the hospital bed where the table is in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So that's automatically weird. But it's as if it's not.
Right.
And she's like, hey, it's me. And he's like, Grandma, what are you doing here? Mm-hmm. Didn't you just die?
with that.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I came here to see you. So he is in awe still as he's trying to explain it to me, how real it is. And then he tells me, oh, dude, I went up to her and I'm like, can I touch your face?
Oh, the way you do?
Right. So I was like, you asked her and then you went up and touched her face. She said, yeah. And he goes, yes. And then she touched my face. And I was like, oh, dude, this is real.
Did he feel the touch?
Yeah. He said he felt it. He said everything was real.
That's sweet.
And they were going, because they used to do this you to each other, right? And just have fun with it, right? And he's like, she did it. He goes, but then something really weird happened.
Okay.
Hold on.
Don't play with all your brand new toys. Play with a straw.
So he said from the basement, some darkness came up. It was like this black smoky stuff. And it said, okay, your time with her's up, and started to pull him as if it was stealing his soul back into the basement. Now, the basement is where I cracked open when I came home. I had multiple, and it's a concrete basement down there, right? It's like a painted over Freddy Krueger basement. I mean, it's nice down there now, but when I was doing stuff down there, like the wall still had a little chippy paint, and it was just, it's a cold basement, you know? And then to go down there and have your experiences by yourself late at night. And we always said that there was something kind of moving through the home that was a little dark. And it was when grandma got dementia.
Yeah.
And I thought it was one person in my house bringing in this darkness. And then it turns out to be my grandmother. But as the dementia healed, because it wasn't really dementia. It was more like a senilisms, right? Like just getting old. It switched to my grandfather.
I think that entity is feeding off of the energy output.
Yes, because
That's
it's,
what I think is
and
happening.
yes.
Yeah.
And when we talked last week about them being a little more speedy than us, like moving quicker, that's what I think they're feeding on, that hyperactive.
No, I think that's what it is. I really do.
It's been so intense. So now he says it drags him to the basement. Now I let him know this. I said, look, your soul, right? Even if you decide to go, yeah, I'll make a deal with the devil or whatever that is, it's not yours here to sell, right? You may enter into a contract. Things may happen to you here through the other side. It may seem horrible and bad, but if we're all of source, you're just getting brought back in this way instead of through the higher realm back down, because it's a big recycling system. It would be like the positive and negative outputs. You'd just be coming in from the lower thing again as something new or something different. So 100%, it's not yours to sell, although you can contract and get pulled into that stuff. So you never really, I don't know, have to worry when something's like, yo, dude, I'm taking you away and I'm taking your soul from you. And
That can't happen, though. You don't.
Now, why can't that happen?
Free will.
All you have to do is say no. They make you think they can, and they make you think you're alone. They can make you feel like you're alone, but you're not alone. You're never alone. And all you have to do is say, nah, I'm done with this. Done. And it ends. It might not end like that. It takes a moment, and you need to stand in your greatness, creator, source of source. It's up to you to stand in your stuff and face it down, and it goes away.
So was that it, or was there more to the?
So that was his dream, right? So now the lady that takes care of my grandmother, she was outside waiting for an Uber because she's now helping my grandfather. She says, I need to talk to you. And I says, all right. what's up? And she goes, you know, you always talking about this stuff around the house. And I'm like, yeah. I always tell her, Paula and I talk to her. And she's like, yo, your grandmother came to me in my apartment. And I said, really? Another, person? I mean, most people believe in God of some kind or paranormal or UFOs of something, or another, and then dismiss it randomly when it comes up in a conscious conversation. They hear it and they're like, well, you guys might be a little whatever. And then it happens to them again. And you're like drawn to it. It's like, dude, I need to talk to you. So, okay. Well, she showed up in the dress that I put her in all the time. And as if she came from the background into my dream. Now, the dream wasn't a dream because it was real.
Same thing your brother said.
Same thing. And it's weird having... can I do this really quick? Watch this. Watch.
Oh, that's so much better.
Isn't that better?
I thought it was down the lowest it could go.
No, that's the lowest it could go.
Oh, thank you.
How low can you go?
Not much lower than that.
So she said, I completely lost the fact that what was here and that this woman just came flying from the background of my apartment into frame, and she's floating there. And she goes, thank you very much. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you so much. And then she goes, just like the way she came in, gone. She goes, but that ain't never happened before. And I was like, well, it does now, especially around this house. Right? So don't be so easily dismissive of these things when it happens to you, because if we're at the 4% awareness in the human suit and we're gaining awareness and we're not aware of 96%, you have to like use your heart, your gut, your mind, kind of as one mind, discern what you just went through. And then if it feels right and it feels real and it doesn't feel negativity, or it's not telling you to do something bad or evil or dark or harmful, but it's putting you in a positive light in a mission, what would you do? If grandma walked in the room, or one of your relatives, would you poo-poo on it? It's really weird. My father's oldest brother, I see him often. His name's Eddie. And, it's hard to talk to people about that. Everyone loved this guy. And 20 years ago, he passed away. Oh,
my goodness. Are you okay? She's okay.
I ain't never seen nothing like that.
I think she's...
We got to take her to the vet. That was weird. That's kind of scary. Okay. She's doing some weird thing with her mouth.
All right, let me go check on her. Keep talking.
Whoa,
I'm
boy.
listening.
Sorry about that, guys. So we have seeds dropping all along, and then little bits start popping up into your realm, into your awareness, into your life. And it's like, well, Frank sees it. And it's not about Frank seeing anything. Frank's just doing it now, in this now moment, right now. You're next. If that's what you want, but you got to go for it. You got to do it. And you got to discern it. And if it feels right, don't dismiss it. If you see a UFO flying around, right? UFO is unidentified flying object, whether it's us or actually someone else, it's still an unidentified flying object flying through the air, right? So it's pretty like dope. So you'd be like, well, there is a UFO. Well, yeah, it could be us flying in a UFO. Let's not fight about stupid things anymore. Let's not argue points over nonsense, right? Sides, this or that, or Coke or Pepsi. You got to not fight over that stuff. It's funny. I was thinking about sports too. I don't watch sports anymore, but sports draws you into that me versus you thing, and then it carries over into everything else. I like a Mac, and I like Windows, and I like this. It's good. Like what you like. Stop fighting.
Why don't you tell them about the interview you did today?
I did an interview with Will Turbet today, and this guy's great. He confronts the pedophile politicians, and he like rolls up on them. He's a little nice at first. Let me ask you a question. And he starts talking to him, and then starts bringing it up. And these guys are like the known ones. He's not going up to random people and just doing it because that would you'd feel wrong watching that, right? You see that on camera. And you'll go, why are you doing that to that guy? Right? Do you know if he's a pedophile? For sure. Well, these are guys that are already marked. They've already been quieting the process in the background down so you don't hear anything. He walks right up to them. He gets right up to them, camera, suit, tie, and tells them, you're going to jail. You know that? This is what you did. Do you have anything to say about that? You voted against this. Do you have anything to say about this? And just follows them. And nobody does anything to him because he keeps it within the realm of, I'm allowed to do this as an American. Here at the courthouse, I'm protected just like you are. You work for me. I don't work for you. See, this is where the politicians get it twisted. They're out there trying to get power, but no, bitch, you work for us. That's what's the truth. But the real thing that's going on is something completely different, naturally. But that's going to stop. It will stop because it's just people out for special interest, not the interest of the country. Well, the world. It should be the world at this point. No more anything that's promoting separation, including new age stuff. Like, oh, well, they're not woke. But they're still source, right? It bothers me because I mentally do it all the time. Because I will make separation points because I have to sometimes. You come over here, bro. I'll, you know, that Bronx mind comes out. And then I'll catch myself and try to reel that back and just realize it's just source experiencing itself in that means, because everything needs to be explored in the creation. Everything. That means the crappy thoughts and the good thoughts, right? The murderers and the ones that uplift the entire world. The Jesus characters or whatever.
That's the whole
Everyone.
idea, because all of those thoughts that we're thinking and all of those feelings that we're feeling, a lot of them are not our own. That's where the discernment comes in. When a thought is displeasing, but it is not linked to a memory that you can recall, you have to ask yourself, is that thought coming from you? Is that thought coming from source? And the farther away you feel from that thought helps answer the question, I feel.
Yes.
But this goes on every minute of every hour of every day, you know, so it's a lot to discern. But once you have
nonstop.
But once you have your discernment in place, once you have your protection up, once you're seeing things once you realize that your scope of any situation is so skewed, it's so narrow, it's so limited, it's so skewed. When you factor that into how you're looking at the entire situation, it makes the situation a lot easier to look at, realizing your limitation and what you're allowed to see. Because that's where your faith comes in. That's where you have to say, I'm putting my faith and I'm relying that the universe is guiding me in the direction that I'm supposed to be going in.
Yes, it's the oars in the boat, follow the synchronicities.
But it is. But you can't second yourself every step of the way, because then you end up causing all of these other outcomes. You know, your indecision, you know, that timeline has now been created.
The indecision, right? We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this.
We're not going
to do this. And then what happens? You're becoming a master at this.
I learned firsthand. I learned my lesson. I was holding steadfast about something that I wanted to do. And thank you, Sasha. I was holding steadfast about something I wanted to do. And Frank was on board. Everything was fine. And then my sister went and threw a wrench into the plan. And that's all I'm going to say about it. It wasn't really terrible. It wasn't bad. But she made me do something that I didn't want to do. And I went ahead with it and I did it. And I regretted it.
You said specifically, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're doing. This is how it's going down. I don't want to hear another word about it. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, Paula. And then the day before.
The day after.
Well, no, the day after you said that, walked into the shower
Mhm.
and said, okay, we're doing this. And I was like, whoa, that's opposite what you just said. What's going on?
Exactly.
And it fell apart.
And I needed it to fall apart to understand that it's another reason why I can't second guess myself. How I feel originally is how I feel. I don't waver. I usually don't change my mind. And I have to go with that. So I did learn a lesson. I learned that the holidays will never be the same for anyone after a loved one passes. And, you know, people don't understand that until it happens to them, how different everything will become. But it's just the way it is. It's part of life. And we have to be very accepting and mindful and go through the process along with everyone else, because that's all we can do. You know, so
Yes.
I'm very happy that the year is coming to a close. I'm very happy that the holidays are coming to an end. I'm very happy that we're moving into something new.
I watched a last gasp of, I know why we do this, but I don't really want to do this. But I want to have my family around, but I don't want to have my family. Like something's off.
I think
no
Frank
one's
and I
happy.
No, and you know what? Without saying, you know, because we don't want to say anything
If
that
you
hurts
have to
anyone's
muscle
feelings.
through it, it's not really a great thing.
But
to
Frank
have
and
to
I,
do.
since we've met, have started a lot of new traditions, just in our house, with our family, and you know, we're going to continue doing so. We're going to continue starting new traditions and doing things that might be slightly, bitter and sweet takes us deeper into the solidarity with source. It does, you know, and it's hard. It's very hard, you know. It will never be the same, but do we want it to be the same? Do we want it to be the way it always was? Probably not.
Tradition doesn't always,
You know, so that's why I think it's time for Frank and I to start.
doesn't always work.
Creating some new traditions. We already have.
It's almost like our ancestors, they are part of us, but we can't let them kind of overtake us because their ways, right? Like the American Indian, the Egyptian, the maybe Indian, or this one or that one. No, it was. You follow what I'm saying?
No, I do.
They never collectively had it correct, so we don't let them take over. What we do is take pieces of what we need from all of the things that we were,
and that's what everyone should be doing,
and then
anyway.
move forward in a new tradition called it's okay to do whatever it is we feel we need to do in our hearts to make everyone here feel better without anyone losing out on that deal.
Right.
Nobody should lose out on that deal.
Right.
One of the things I'm learning as I'm with Paula and I'm growing, and I always use the pizza pie as the example. It's the whole pie. It's not a slice of the pie or whatever. Like the whole thing has got to be done. So that means we, me and her, the cats, energetically have to be happy with it, or it's not going to work for us. And that's okay, right?
Right. And
to push that momentum forward.
And it has to be okay for everyone else too. You know, like Frank and I, you know, we keep going over this thing and I can't even really talk about it without, I get slightly annoyed. I never wanted to be married. I don't like the idea of marriage. My everyone in my family has been divorced. Not everyone, almost everyone in my family has been divorced.
Same here.
Just me, I never thought I would be with anyone. I really thought I would be alone. Because I was happier alone. I didn't like to be. I went through a very rough time with relationships, and if you've heard the past episodes, you know. And then you know, Frank and I got together, and in the beginning it was fine. It was very sweet, you know, but never did we think it was gonna become what it's become. So we have been talking about marriage, and we're only talking about this with you because this is what we do. We talk about what we talk about.
But it's also the breaking of the tradition with us, because this is where I think she's going with this.
Exactly.
Right? Like the traditional way.
No.
It's cute. It's a ceremony. It's a ritual.
It is.
But
but
we're not here to ask permission anymore.
yeah, no. And the whole thing is, like, I want to marry Frank because I want to be married to Frank, not because people will see us
and you have to come
in a
witness
different light.
it.
Yeah, and
or I'll get respect now from my peers because
because we're
he's finally
married. Yeah, we're married.
But then it goes into well, you guys have no kids. You're married with no kids.
Yeah,
and
yeah. So we're back to
how many
zero
cats
again.
equals one kid?
Yeah, yeah. Can't even say it out.
So breaking tradition, we were discussing.
Yeah,
because I would want to spend my life with Paula for sure.
Me
in the
too.
eyes of marriage and and everything.
Anyway,
but I don't want to spend $30,000
on a wedding. We don't want to do that.
Cost people around me to cost. So I could have waiters. By the way, I worked in Maestro's, which is one of the catering halls.
Hall. Yeah,
I don't want to go there to eat. The food sucks, right? It's annoying. I don't want to hear the Macarena. I don't. Like, I'm not dancing the chicken dance. If I hear that stuff, I will beat your ass at my wedding. You'd be so. See, that's what I'm saying. At my wedding, right? So I want to forget all of that.
Yeah.
So Paula, we decided to confess some stuff to each other.
We had a very practical.
Well, Paula started saying,
discussion.
"Well, we'll go to Frankie and Johnny's, and Frankie, and that's where you go, and you get food. Everyone likes it, and I'm like, I hate this place, right? Like, I want to go to a weed bed and breakfast place.
Well, we could do that.
Or have a party.
We could do that.
And just say, look,
we could do that.
Everyone that's coming here, there's going to be, what did we call them? Were they hors d'oeuvres or were they like, because I said all small foods.
Oh, yeah, hors d'oeuvres and a weed.
And a weed connoisseur. A weed tender, bud tender.
Bud tender.
Right. And then have everyone just come out and smoke weed. Forget about drinking. You can have a drink if you want. That's fine. But we're not promoting that stuff. We're promoting something a little different. You like come and get high and listen to music and just chill and witness us together. I don't need anyone to tell me, well, you're married to her, because we get confused sometimes. I know we do, because I do it all the time, because I want to just go, well, my wife's inside. When I go, oh, my girl's inside, they go, oh, yeah, you're a girl. If I say, like oh, there's my wife, they go, oh, okay. Yeah, your wife. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is. I go, what is that? So how long have I got to be dating my girl? If I say the word girlfriend, does that mean like it's 2 or 3 years or it's 6 months or 2 weeks? Like, I don't understand, because we've been together for years, and it feels deeper than anything I've ever had.
It's so weird.
And then
it's weird.
All right, so they said something the other day that all the shows on Hallmark were BS. Or something. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And you were like, well, because the world isn't really like that. That's like what you're trying to imagine. It's like the Disney World thing.
Right.
But it is like the Disney World thing, in which you unlock and the magic becomes real.
Because if you have faith that you can have a better life, you can have a better life.
And then this weird thing happens where the real happiness is there. And it's like, well, are they really happy because they're not married? I'm like, we do things as a team. So if I have to sign a piece of paper and spend all this money,
make it legit,
and then go into debt, and then go into more debt, and then argue points with you about stuff, I'm already losing this whole battle. Why is it a battle and not a celebration? Right? Celebration. So that's really what it is. It's not.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? I got to go in front of the state because I don't want to be in the church either, because I don't believe in your church and I don't believe in your state. Why do I got to do any of that? Here, I'll pull a cream right now. That's my wife. You want to do something about it? Well, where's your ring? I jammed it in my butt and it got stuck there. Why don't you go look and take it out? Like, I'm tired of confessing to the world what you know what I mean. I'm trying to be funny, but at the same time, it frustrates me because there's laws and regulations and traditions, and really all I'm seeing with that is money, 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 mind control, mind control, mind control, mind control. Like, don't you
good girl, Sasha?
Don't you want to get married? Don't you want to be like your brother? Don't you want to have kids? I'm like, I've been shaving my head since I'm 21. I don't want to just let it grow and go dead bald and show the whole world how stressed I am. Big difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to own this. Not only that, I don't need anybody to tell me anything about anything that goes on here except for her.
Right.
because that's the only one that matters.
Right, because we have to live together. So
I don't need the state involved. I don't need lawyers involved.
It's
I don't
like,
need
we tell these
religious
we
leaders
tell
involved.
these cats that come in and out and we feed and whatever. We tell them we don't have many rules, but we have like one or two, like don't come in wet and don't scratch the furniture. And then the rest, just be mindful. And that's how we are with our friends. Like, just be mindful. Like I'm going to be 48 years old. I'm having a heart attack right now. I know, Sasha, you are so cute. Sasha, I need a forever home.
Yeah.
I need to find my forever home. I'm giving all these animals a forever home. I need to find my forever home. And I don't want to wear it. I want to live in it.
The Commonwealth thing is great too. We don't mind that stuff. Whatever.
No, not at all. But I mean, we're kind of like, believe me, you guys will know.
I feel like somehow the bondage of the ritual of marriage feels that makes you locked in.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Which is why you bachelor party with strippers.
Yeah,
and then
it's gonna be
because you're trapped forever.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm not trapped with Paula. But why do you feel trapped? What is up with you feeling trapped? Well, we're married, we're bonded, we're locked in together. It's like, no, dummy. Unless the ritual is actually doing that.
Right.
The one that's performed on us through the church and everything. Whereas in other places and other ways, maybe don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe where you see that very high statistical number in maybe America, not other places. It might not work like that there. They might not feel that strain. Like there's got to be communities all over the place where the people get married and love each other. Like that's not out of realms of possibility. We're literally going there head first through dimensions.
You know what it is? Me and Frank know so many people. We have relatives and friends who are married but do not want to be together. And they cannot afford to split. Some have kids, some don't have kids. Some people have just been with the same person for a very long time and they just won't go. And I don't think I ever want to make Frank feel like that. I mean, we already are committed because of these cats. So
this is the ridiculousness. If you don't love each other and then you're like, yo, let's have a kid, maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
You want me to? I'll help you.
Yeah, get 4 cats and then you'll want to kill yourself. And then
because that's the worst idea I ever heard. How about bringing a kid in through pure love and enjoyment factor instead of trying to bond more bonding together and then being stuck and feeling the need to be stuck.
Also saying like we have friends that can't get divorced. Like I've heard a friend of a friend that they're living in the same house, but they're living 2 separate lives under one roof because they can't each afford to leave, and now what's going to happen? You're putting pressure on yourself to find someone new so that you can get that other half of your life back. And that sucks. And I don't want to put Frank in that situation. And I don't, thank you. And
you're so correct.
I don't want to put him in that situation. I'm a big girl. I've been taking care of myself for a long time. I can continue to do so. And, Frank and I come together. We settle the score at the end of the month when we pay all the bills.
But see, this is where we're going. Where she's talking, she's saying this is how we handle the business. Our hearts are married for sure.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
We don't need the bonding process to be external because it's with us.
But like it is something that we're going back and forth with. I don't know if we're going to come to a decision or a conclusion, or I don't know.
Well, oars in the boat, right? See what happens.
Oars in the boat. I guess so. I guess we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Makes it a wonderful, because I've never been happy about that thought.
Since I met Frank, I lost 23 pounds. I was the heaviest I was in my life when I met Frank. And since we've been together, I lost 23 pounds. And it was like a slow and steady 23 because the majority of it came off this year, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's almost like we're transforming into something else.
I don't get it. If
they could just stretch me out to 6'2", 240,
I know, me too. I'd feel so much like just get 3 inches. Give me 3 inches.
Maybe a little glow on the back of the head.
Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. I have a glow in the back of my head. Sorry. Sorry. You don't.
So all of these different rites and rituals, as you watch society pull itself into them, see what the outcome is and see how it's designed to ragdoll you and drag you through certain things. Now, it doesn't do that to every single person, but it does it to a lot. Now, take into account everything else that attaches to everything else, and then see why it's not being done and why it's the American dream. You're chasing after it constantly, and then you're dead. I need a license and a right and permission and a this, and then money. Like, come on, guys. Is this what is this what life is about? Is it really about just roll the dice and make that money? I mean,
No.
I'm not an organic robot. I think not.
Look, I gave it up. You had no choice. You were injured. I gave it up. I knew enough. My heart, my physical heart, and my brain told me this job is going to kill you if you stay. You need to get out now. And my body has thanked me because I have not done the surgery yet. And I am still in pain with my shoulder. I do have a very big problem with my shoulder, but it is not nearly as bad as it used to be when I had to go to work. I couldn't take it. I would cry. I mean, there were some nights, because when we met, I was still working. I worked a year. I used to go to bed at like 9 o'clock at night.
This is what I'm saying. You're pounded into submission.
Yeah, it was terrible.
You're specifically even working in a way that you're not supposed to be working. They make it sound like you're supposed to work that. Like,
no,
you work 8 hours, but it really comes to like 10.
Yeah. And,
plus travel and plus this, plus that, plus. And then people tell me, well, Frank, there's fantasy and there's reality. And I go, right. Who's living in the fantasy and who's living in the reality?
Exactly.
Well, you'll never survive. Well, guess what? We're surviving fine.
Yeah, accept your reality.
We're surviving fine.
I had it all. I had a house. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with several cats and Frank, and I drink coffee all day long. And you know what? This is my best life that I've ever lived. And, we were talking about this earlier. Oh, we watch now, no spoiler. We watched Star Wars, one of the best movies ever.
It was fantastic. Wow.
From beginning to end. And I told Frank I'd watch it again. So we're going to watch it again.
Faith.
And, I'm not I've said it before on the show. I'm not a lover of Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I'm not a lover. I can't tell you anything about it. I get all the characters confused. This movie I loved from beginning to the very, very end. I loved it. Why was I talking about that?
You just jumped into that, but I was going to make it.
Saying we lived our best life. So this is my best life that I'm living. So the universe took it back to the beginning. And Frank and I were talking about this the other night. Having to come all the way home, all the way back to the beginning to move one step forward.
So you go out, you enjoy your life, whatever. You go for your experience,
and then you put right back in the beginning,
back to the beginning again,
and you have to start over. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to suck it up and do it, and it could be the best thing that could happen to you. I for some reason I went the long way around, and I came right back to where I started.
Yeah, well, so did I. Started right back in the basement of my grandmother's. Right.
Me too.
Back in
the Bronx.
I came forward and look where we are today.
I know, but it's so strange.
It's
so strange.
The apocalypse in my life happened every chance it had. It would fall away, this old stuff, and I'd become a better version.
Right.
Better version. Even the crappy version of me was better than the version prior. And then it just expanded and then broke open when it was time.
Oh, yeah, I feel that way. I mean, all that stuff I accumulated and then just tossed.
Baggage.
I donated, gave away. I was begging people to take things, begging people to take anything they wanted that I had to get rid of before I had to call that dumpster. And
Yeah, because it's almost a crime to throw out stuff when other people
it
don't
was
have
a crime,
stuff.
but you know what a bigger crime is? Storing it and not using it and not seeing it. And that's what you did. And that's why I said your storage room is next, remember?
Yeah.
And then once we cleaned out my stuff, we cleaned out your storage room.
So I bought stuff, put it in my storage room, but before I bought it, I had to use a credit card and I had to pay it off.
Yep.
Then I used it and put it into a storage room and had the storage room so long that it was like I bought everything 3 times.
Right.
And then everything was whatever. It wasn't really that great for that price I paid. And then I'm like, we got to get rid of this.
Yeah.
We got to just get.
And what did we do? We brought a lot of that stuff here.
Yeah.
Because I needed
anything usable.
Yeah, we
came
brought
right here. Everything not usable that needed to go.
Yeah,
you're
we got
out.
rid of.
And I held on to stupid stuff. Well, in case the end of the world comes, I'm gonna need pots and pans just so we could make fires in the backyards in case this. And I'm like, throw it out.
Pick the 3 you love.
Pots and pans inside.
Yeah, pick
right? We got 100 of them.
Pick the 3 you love.
Right?
You know,
everything else is gone.
Yeah.
You got an ayahuasca one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't need 50.
Right.
You only need what you need.
Right. Pick what you love the most, and that's what we take.
And yeah, man, it like the stuff that's here gets used.
Yeah. No. Well, we have no choice now. I was with my friend last night for dinner, Nancy.
Right.
And we've been friends since she's in the 9th grade. I'm in the 10th grade. So it's a long time we've been friends. And we go out to dinner like once a month because I can't drive into the city anymore. It's too much of a hassle. My condition, I can't take public transportation. I don't feel comfortable.
Well, it's not even like it used to be. It's a hassle.
Yeah, it's just a big nightmare. So she's nice enough to come to the Bronx once a month and we meet for dinner in the Bronx. And it's a perfect deal because I love catching up and it's a short period of time and it's perfect. Like it's one of those where we hate to go, but we'll see you next time. And it's just really a lovely time. And Frank was nice enough to drive last time so I could have some wine. And he picked me up. And why was I mentioning this? I don't remember either.
It was a great time with your friend Nancy.
No, I was just saying it's there was a reason I was mentioning it though. Because I think I was telling her. Like she was telling me, this is what I'm telling her. This is what I wanted to tell you. So she was telling me she's getting her apartment redone. So she decided that she was going to rent an apartment like an Airbnb or something while she's getting her apartment in the city renovated.
Okay.
So that she can take all the furniture out, have them renovate, and then she could put all the furniture back in. And then she doesn't have to live there because it's a small apartment in the city. So I said that has to be the best idea I've ever heard. And, you know, taking all of your furniture out and moving into storage, you really are looking at piece by piece, item by item.
Is this worth?
Yeah, and decide, is this worth storing? Is this worth putting in a storage unit? That's why I was talking about this. Is this worth putting in a storage unit? Is this worth holding on to, or is it time to let it go? And she said, you know, you're so right. I never thought about it that way. And I said, yeah, you're going to have to mark and label each piece anyway. So you might as well decide then. And she's like, yeah, you know, I think my daughter, I'm going to get rid of her bedroom set and get her a different bedroom set. And, you know, and that
it just starts that crumbling.
Yeah, because now you're starting
Let's get rid
new.
of it. Let's do it.
And that's what we did when we redid the living room. Remember, we got rid of even more stuff. And now spring is on its way. It's going to be time again.
You can go from platform level experience that you're having.
So
you're like,
so strange.
And then
so strange.
You're like, look, let's just try it. Come on. Let's comfort zones here. We're used to this. We don't really, it doesn't work for us anymore. Let's try. Boom. All of a sudden it looks like this.
I know, it's weird. Very strange.
And you say to yourself, well, I did this. I did this with you. We did this together. We did. And okay, well, let's try this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden creation is back into the swing again. And as you purge these things, right? So it's a reflection inside, outside.
Oh, so this is where we're going with this, because now I remember. So we were talking about, prior to this, you were talking about being someplace else, but it feels like a dream, but it's a reality.
Yes.
So now, do you want to tell them about the place that you've been going recently?
Well, I've spoken to the audience, the FearLess family, for about the house. right?
This house that you see.
This
when
house
you're
that I
dreaming.
see. Well, it's not every time, but once again, the dream that's real.
Well, you've been there enough now that you've seen the same house a few times.
A lot of times now.
Mhm.
So I've spoken about the event happening and me being outside in this other place in front of this new home that was there for us when we move into the next position, and I witnessed the event out there. Well, I had another dream where I was so when we ate mushrooms and we microdosed and it really kicked our butt, this thing, it was like rocks slid open in my mind eye, and it was a portal into, it looked like a beautiful grassy hill with a giant tree on it, and then a house right off to the side. So I guess I'm looking at the grounds on this thing, and the sun's shining, and there's purples and pinks, and it's a beautiful hue and colors there. So I said under the mushrooms, what is that? They're like, well, this is open permanently now to you. This is the next step. So when I had the dream, which was just the other night, all right, I was able to just walk through it without realizing what I was doing. I just walked into this area, and it was the house again. I don't know how to explain this, so I'm going to just do my best again, because people go, well, look, to me, it's the 5D frequency.
Mm-hmm.
It's that area. It's peaceful. It's beautiful. It's new earth. It's this, that, the other. You can name it whatever you want.
Right.
And the thing was, how many people weren't going yet? That's what screwed me up. So I walked through this portal, and this being, I don't know if it was my higher self or if it was someone helping me with stuff, was like, all right, you're ready, right? So I'm like, where am I? Like, what's going to happen? So they're like, well, you're going to go. Paula's going to go. Cats are going to go. And I'm like, where are we going? See, here we go again with this shit, right? Like, some people describe it like a cellular mitosis thing, right? When it shakes and like the ball shakes, and then there's two, right?
I don't
know if I believe in
that.
that. I don't know if I believe that either.
I don't think I believe that. I think it's going to be so subtle that we don't realize it's happening.
So I was gearing up, like, oh, okay, yeah, this is great. I saw the house. The house is gorgeous. I saw, people, they were going to do ayahuasca sessions, and Paul had areas to plant. And I mean, it was bigger. And I started going, maybe this is too big. And they were like, no, you should think bigger, because you guys are good caretakers. So I'm like, all right, well, where's everyone else? And they were like, okay, so here's the thing. They're not quite coming yet. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I'm confused about this.
So they're like, your family, right? So I witnessed my mother, and I was like, okay, Ma, it's time to go. And I was like, kind of bringing her through. And then my brother wasn't going, but I had this conversation. I talked about it live, where I had to go to him, and he had to take his leap of faith, and everyone agreed to come. He did it. And he finally, everyone did what they had to do. And they were like, yes, I'm coming. Yes, I'm coming. Yes, I'm coming. Okay, cool. So then we're going, and me and you were going, and I'm pulling Diane through, and she looks back and sees Zoe, my niece, and Zoe goes, oh, Grandma. And she goes, oh, that's it. I'm staying. So I'm like, no, you can't stay. You have to come with us. So she stays, and then she hangs out with her for a little bit. The girl gets older, and then that's it. Grandma's, you're a wash. And now there's no Frank there to take care of you with Paula. We're not there. They forget about us.
I wonder what that means.
And I'm like,
though.
What do you mean you forget about us? What is that? Nobody's supposed to forget nothing. They go, no. Those that are going into this area are going to go, and they're going to be forgotten. It's like it never happened. So I'm watching my brother forget about me, but I'm watching them have terrible experiences, because as we continue this process, it is that Kali Yuga moment, that apocalyptic moment where things are falling apart, and then rebuilding. But that falling apart structure, to those that are tied to it, really suffer the consequence of it.
Of course.
Where those of us that have been separating from it bear witness to it and go, well, we're protected. We're prepared for all that. And we understand beforehand. That's the idea of part of my purpose, is to be prepared for that. And then as well, whoever's listening, to tell you, because I'm supposed to share this stuff. It's just, okay. So then I go, well, can I go and come back at the moment? Can we come back? And they were like, oh, you guys aren't coming back for a while. So I was like, what do you mean a while? They're like, you got things to do here. So I go, so do I have to die? Once again, I asked the question.
Right.
Do I need to die? Is Paula and I going to die and then come into this realm? Because that's what you're talking about. And they're like, no, you guys are going to walk into it. Some of you are going to just take your bodies and go right there. So I'm like, yeah, sounds great. That just sounds like to me, right? But I'm there. I'm actually there. And I'm trying to pull my mother through, and then she goes back. And I'm like, once again, the indecision. And at the last moment, right, she just decides to go and then lives a terrible life.
But when you went back, she aged.
Hold on, we're not there
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
We don't jump to the end of the book.
Sorry.
So I had to witness them go through a terrible, all of them just grew up and then got old. She was in a wheelchair doing that. And I'm like, oh, what's wrong with her? So Paula and I were living on that other side for like a year. That's what it felt like, a year. When I went, they were like, okay, it's time now, come back. And I'm like, what do you mean come back? They're like, no, now you guys could go back. You're going to go back and get them. So I'm like, now? And the portal opens and I see them and I walk in on my brother and he's terrible, old. He looks just beat up. He's crying. He's in front of some computer. He's doing something and he's miserable about something again. And I'm like, hey, Rob, you recognize me? Because I look different now. I'm like glowing a little bit. And he's like, what are you? Who are you? And I'm like, it's me, your brother. And he's like, I don't have a brother. Like, it's totally not there. So I start saying his name and his family line. And then I say, remember, like I command it at him. And he's like, Frank. And I'm like, yes, he remembers. Mm-hmm. Get your bags. We're going. By bags, I mean, get up. It's time to leave right now. And I pulled him through. Then he had to like agree to that, though. There was this weird thing that happened. Then my mother was just sitting alone in a room in a wheelchair, miserable, broken. And I'm like, you should have just friggin' came. So I portal in and then I look around and there's no guide. There's no higher self. There's no one's watching. And I'm like, you know what? Screw this. And I just grab her and I just pull her right out. I don't even talk to her about it. And then we go back on the other side and things start to change. And I'm like, it almost looked like, okay, so if a TV compared to like 1970 to 1980 to 90 is the different viewing quality, mm-hmm. and then to now is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It was like viewing the picture, the visual was like a little crappier than what we were in now. Like we're in a new beautiful thing. But when I was there, it's almost like when you watch Batman versus Superman, it's like darker. Mm-hmm. You're like, what are they trying to be specifically dark about this? It felt that way. Or as if it maybe I was like, is this metaphorical? What's happening to me and my family? Right. And they're like, you've been gone for years. And I'm like, no, we haven't. It's only been like a year. They're like, time is different. It's not the same here as it is right there. And I'm going, that's what I said. I don't know about that. I don't know how this works at this level. Like now I'm just shooting into the wind from what I kind of try to understand.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't see your mother not being with us. I don't see that. I don't picture it.
That's why I was saying, is this metaphorical to we go on to our destination and then she decides to stay over here and then we succeed on this level, but we're all still here.
I don't know.
because you know how those things play out, but
Mhm.
it felt so real. It was so real that I was confused when I woke back up that that wasn't what was going on. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. And I'm like, well, I was at the house again. This time, now I know how to walk the grounds.
Right.
I've seen a bunch of the rooms.
Mhm.
I was telling Paula how it's set up.
Right, because we were joking about it the other day, yesterday maybe. We were
Yeah.
joking about it, and you said, "I saw that. What you just mentioned, I saw that."
It was crazy to me.
You know, I don't know.
Because the argument, I don't mind being part of the whole thing, and I'm thankful and grateful for having the ability to do these things that I'm even unaware of most of the time it's happening. But at the same time, I have to transmute or get everything lined up and try to understand this. Is it a frequency where we go to where we hit a certain note in the song and we're just there and not here? Or is that bull and it just means you'll live a great life here and they'll be over here and then eventually you'll come over and da-da. I go, but we're talking about, I'm asking questions like death, traditional death. Does this body need to leave?
But I
And
don't
they're
think
like,
you're
nah.
supposed to know the answer to that.
They give me that answer, but they won't tell me.
I don't think they're supposed to tell you. I don't think you're supposed to know. I don't think no one is supposed to know.
Well, that would be one hell of a surprise, right? But my intent stayed strong
but that's
to
where
do
your faith
this.
comes in.
Touche.
You're not supposed to know. I just don't see your mother not with us. I don't see it. I always want her with us. You know,
you just said it. This is it. We're not supposed to know. So you feel and have faith for the unseen.
Mhm.
And I'm saying the flip is that
she may not be with us, and it bothers me. That bothers me. I don't like that.
It bothers me too. I won't say it worries me. It concerns me, but I'm not in charge of your destiny. So I have to go with what I have to go with. I'm not.
I get it.
See, here's the thing too. I don't want to leave anyone behind. Sorry, I'm not leaving anyone behind.
No, me neither. I have family too. I don't want to leave them behind.
Yeah. You know, but we've heard people discuss this before. Even Dolores Cannon says there's like a new vibration, and in that vibration is the new earth.
Yeah, but I don't think it's.
I don't know how this plays
going
out. So
to shake out like two separate dimensions. I don't think it's
like
that
Earth 1, Earth 2.
No, I think it's
or frequency.
No, I think it's a level of consciousness.
See, that's what I had asked. Do we just go like let's say to Greenland or something and start our own FearLess
New
thing?
Asgard, Greenland.
Whatever,
Iceland.
and then we go there. I was making a point. We go to California and we start our own thing there, whereas everyone else stays and just lives their life until they're ready to open like a flower. And I don't get an answer either way.
You're not going to. You're asking specific questions. You're not going to get an answer to that.
Because I'm being shown this, but it's not being shown to me. I'm able to go in and move
view
around.
it. Yeah.
And
well,
I'm
I think
saying,
it's
here.
Preparedness. It's also maybe to show you, look, everything that you are manifesting is coming true. Here it is. You can actually see it. You just can't touch it yet. But it's here. This is what you've been manifesting. This is what we have in the ether waiting for you.
Right, for sure.
You just can't touch it yet. But it's here. Keep adding to it. Keep putting things in that house. Keep putting things in the garage. Keep putting things in,
Yeah. As I move
manifest
through the place,
what you
I'm
want.
like, we need this stuff here, and then don't forget I remember saying, we don't need a pool. Get rid of the pools. I don't want to find the cats.
Get a hot tub. Yeah,
get a hot tub,
you
put
said
the hot tub,
thing.
and then this dude that was with me is like, what are you talking about? The hot tub's right there. And I turned more, and the hot tub was like a 10-person hot tub, and I was like, damn, we had that and a pool. And they were like, dude, you're running the whole grounds. There's going to be animals here. There's going to be people helping you here. It's not just you and Paula. Because I was like, this is a little big for me. I'm a little overwhelmed. And then they showed there were other people there, and everyone was, you were planting, and then whatever fruits and vegetables you were bagging up. People were bringing stuff to us, and you were bringing stuff out to them. And I was on the other side of the place, and there was people doing ayahuasca in a tent, and the tent was gorgeous. but I set it up to where you could go inside and everyone could just relax and go through your experience. And then at the end of the night, you're only like 20 feet from the house and giant sliding glass. You just walk in and everyone could sleep in this giant area inside the house comfortably. Let's say if it's too hot, too
That
cold,
sounds amazing.
whatever.
Doesn't it sound amazing?
And it's completely separate from the actual, like our living area. So you'd never run into each other if you had stuff to do on one side of the house. And I was like, damn.
But doesn't that sound amazing just like that?
Well, I feel ready for it. I feel like I'm responsible enough for that. But maybe what I'm learning is one little thing at a time to get me ready to build up to that more.
Right.
Because I'm no longer thinking in non-successful thoughts. I'm thinking it's already happened. I just have to now live through the process.
Why would you?
Which is the
though?
manifestation
Why would
value.
you? We're happy here, right? We're happy here. We
Yeah.
have a good time here. We cook together and we put
laugh
music
together
on and we
and-
laugh together and
Yeah.
we clean up cat vomit together. And you know, it is what it is. But it'll just be like this somewhere else. We're gonna have to be somewhere else anyway.
No, I know, but you know how we think to ourselves like, oh, I need a hobby or something to fill that time, or I sit in front of the computer maybe too much to try to promote, and I'm sitting here thinking and I'm blowing out my mind. Meanwhile, in this new place, I don't have time really for that.
Right.
Like we have scheduled time for things because we're busy creating. Right. But the connections are different. Like I'm going to say it just to say it. We, in that place, I was like, wow, how much of the taxes on this home? And they're like, you guys own this, but you're the caretakers of the land through permission of Mother Earth. Like, you're not paying taxes. Like the electricity is generated through free energy. You don't pay for electricity. There's one tax when you buy something brand new to help that, and it's this price, and that's it. And I'm like, well, that's pretty specific. Like they're just bomb, 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 and I'm like, oh, okay. The next car you're gonna have you're not gonna have a car. You're gonna have something that picks you up like a drone. It looks like a car that's a drone. So you're gonna keep that ride that you have until that shows up.
Right.
That's it. You're not going to be driving it either. They were showing me not taking flying. Like they're like, that thing comes to pick you up and then take you. But everyone's going to have the ability to start doing this stuff. And when it rolls out, it's going to come out quickly.
Right.
Right. So as much as you're like, it's not happening fast enough, when it does happen, you're going to be like, oh man, that just slipped right in there.
Because it's going to hit the ground running.
Hit the ground running. Everything from medical devices and technological advances that don't include the AI that could come in and do stuff like that. They'll block all that stuff out, which is funny because I block it out of me. Now I still get it when I inhale it and eat it and stuff. It just doesn't affect me, but I still have to purge it. I'm not getting away from that part. You can't have it in you because then you'll start to look like the Emperor Palpatine, right? You got to get that crap out of there. It just messes you up. But I'm not being affected by having a tentacle in me, puppeteering me around. Never happening again. See, this is the one beautiful thing about waking up. Once you make that connection, you're like, oh, never again. And now you're free from that and move into the next thing and then gain your freedom in that thing, in that experience, in that level, and then move up into the next one. And it's never ending. So don't worry, you're going to miss something.
I don't think we're going to miss anything. I think your mom is going to be stuck with, if I say have faith one more time in front of Frank's mom, I think she's going to kill me. And I don't say it in front of her. You know, I don't push my stuff on her. I just make small comments based on what's happening around me. But
see, I don't know either. When can we touch it, Sasha? I don't know.
It's in there.
It's there.
It's when you think you're ready to receive it, I think. You know, I mean, it's not, thank you.
Sending you lots of love.
It's not, you know, I'm not saying, look, I have faith and, you know, my pocketbook is filled with $50 bills. That's not it. It's getting through your normal life the easiest way possible without having a
The
breakdown
resistance.
or resistance
Like,
or
no,
someone
no, no.
on you or complaining about everything in your day or hating where you are or hating the person you're with or hating your situation. You know, we all are in situations that we don't want to be in, and we have to make the best of them. And that's kind of what happened over this Christmas holiday. You know, we were fine. It was when we were with other people that there was an issue. And, you know,
And we're not hating them. They didn't do anything
no,
wrong.
it was
But
all circumstance. And,
wow.
you know, it's hard. It really is hard.
It was
you
the
know?
most difficult couple of days for me.
But now we've been coming out of it. Yesterday we had a very good day.
It was like we had our Christmas the day after
the day
Christmas,
after it was
and
weird.
the day after that.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. You know, today was a pretty good day too. Today
Everything's
was
been
definitely
fine, except for those days.
a very quiet.
And I'm very thankful
day.
for everything,
Yeah.
but I just feel like the big pull away, right? Like people talk about they feel like they don't fit in anymore. Like I can physically see, and I'm fully aware that the communication with you is zero and none. I can't get through to you. Anything I say just goes in one ear out the other, or you're just blocking it out and talking to hear yourself talk. And you're witnessing this on that detailed of a level that you have to sit back and you're concerned for them. Not that you're having a bad time. Like Frank, even though he said my bad time was my mother's like not enjoying herself. This one's not enjoying. This one's throwing up and nervous. This one's nervous now and getting sick. And then these people don't want to talk, but they kind of
it's like energy, just weird energy.
Just
know?
It's weird.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here, the two of us are together,
watching it.
And we look like the freakazoids. Like, why is Frank always angry? It's like I can't get through to it. I can't say a word. Not to mention the situations that were arising and the complications of ridiculousness. But it has nothing to do with the people there.
No, it's just
this was the weird thing.
It's you know what? We don't have to worry about it for another year. It's done.
You say to yourself, well, maybe Grandpa won't be here, and this one, that one might. Nobody, you never know. Somebody else could not be here.
You don't know.
But I still thought to myself internally, I can't bring myself to celebrate. I couldn't do it. I actually just sat with my grandfather.
Oh, it was hard. You miss your grandma too.
Well, it was funny thing. I celebrate grandma. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people. It sucks, but it doesn't bother. Like I celebrate it. So like a Viking warrior celebrates, and then having anyone visit you during an experience, like Viola starts showing up, and you're like, oh, all right. Now she's got her husband. She went to my mother. She went to Michelle, she went to my brother, she went to me, like during and you so how much more do you need to be like, oh, she's fine, like it's okay?
Well, you know she's fine. You knew she was fine. You know, I get that.
Well, plus too, we didn't tell everyone, but we lost a kitten. That didn't help the situation.
No, it was like 2 days before Christmas.
So Gigi, Gandalf the Grey, is no longer with us.
No, something happened.
The one-eyed cat.
She got out. No, well, we let her out.
It was early.
We let her out.
And then she never came back.
Now, but prior to Frank letting her out, I let her out 20 minutes before that, and she came right back. She usually comes out every 20 minutes, every half hour. And that night she didn't come back, and we searched for her, and she never came back. So
yeah, but once again, following the universe and the writing on the wall, there were all signs and symbols leading me around the day we went searching and everything, and the writing on the wall itself. It's like, there's the answer. Stop pushing that button forward.
Right.
Take the synchronistic.
Yeah. So Frankie picked up all these signs on his walks, and he told me about the signs, and I was like, well, the universe is telling you she's not
literally, she's not there anymore with us. So, that didn't help the Christmas spirit.
I'm sure it didn't. I mean, I felt very sad.
I could not pull myself into a mode of.
We had a good night though. That night we were baking and wrapping gifts. That was a pretty good night we had.
I love baking. I love creating.
And it was even the night. We don't have full confirmation that she's gone, but we're 99% sure she's gone. And it was still a great night because we were celebrating her. We were telling stories about all the bad stuff she's done, and
Yeah, we got the bad O cat meter
you
right
know,
here
she's just
on
a
the wall.
bad. She was just a bad
and
little
you check
girl.
off where she's got you today.
But she was the best little
right
girl,
here,
you
look.
know. And now we don't have her anymore. But you know, that was a good night. Still, we had a good day.
And we choose to have
Mhm.
positive, healthy
Yeah.
thoughts about her, and then move forward from there. But it was funny how all this kind of caked up. There was no flip out, including with my grandmother. Like I never flipped out. Like
No,
I had like
and
a
your
little tear
grandfather
burst.
dreamt of gray cats. He told us Christmas
That
Eve.
was another thing.
Christmas Eve, he said, "I'm so sorry about your little cat. You didn't see her yet." I said, "No, Pop." He said, "Last night I dreamt of all these gray cats, little ones, big ones, different sizes, different types of gray, but all gray cats." And I went, "Oh my goodness, Pop, you did?" And he said, "Yeah, last night." So,
Yeah, I was showing him pictures and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, gray, all gray." And I'm like, "Well, her name was Gandalf the Gray." So,
mhm.
all right, just interesting stuff.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Wow, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
so it's a lot of
amazing, even
synchronicity, you know. I mean, even Pop to tell the story. You know what I mean? To actually tell you the
people
story.
that wouldn't want to go ahead and tell you anything like that.
You know.
But it's so mind blowing to them that they have to.
Oh, Grandma visited him.
Yeah.
He said, "Get out of here. I'm not ready yet,
Yeah.
Viola." He says, "Go back where you came from." But
The best is when her sisters were coming to her.
yeah, oh yeah, before
He goes, "Tell them to get the F out of here." He starts screaming.
You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're gonna stay here
Yeah.
with me. Oh man, that's crazy stuff. But all right, so moving forward now into the new year.
Yeah.
Right? 2020, big just another big date. It's gonna be like the roaring 20s again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we'll get into a good
I'm already in a good we have to
by putting all this work in.
We have to keep that momentum up.
That's the word I'm looking for.
And you know, tomorrow
rolling.
Yeah, Rose, my sister invited us for dinner, and I think we're gonna make those cupcakes. We had an epic fail with cupcakes this holiday season. This is 2 years in a row we tried to make cupcakes, and 2 epic fails. And I'm a good cookie baker. I don't know what I'm doing. It's cupcakes. I mean, they're not the Duncan Hines. I mean, we're not talking about
I don't know, the first
cake
batch
from
was
scratch.
Delicious.
I know. We did a test run of a first batch of cupcakes. They were delicious.
The second one,
second batch
do it.
Didn't work. And I think we're going to try it again. I'll try it again when I wake up in the morning tomorrow. I'll put a batch on.
Oh,
and up. Yeah, I am.
So 2020 has cupcakes. 2020 also has awesome other things that are technologies to be revealed. Hold on. Beings to be revealed. Wait, there's more. Patents are being revealed.
Oh,
my
yeah. All the
perfect
stuff being released.
That Frank can give you internet. Live. You might have seen some places before, but you know what? Now that we have the video to be able to do it, so we'll jump right into this now. Paula and I talk about chimeras all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So more and more as we get through this, the lizard man or the Chewbacca character, or the Ninja Turtle, the Thundercat, right? Like it doesn't seem so weird now, right?
Mm-mm.
Like Oscar, I tell you this all the time, Oscar the cat, if he just stood up and just started talking,
we wouldn't be surprised at all.
Would not shock me if he just went, "Hey, buddy,
if he was the one that started talking, I wouldn't be surprised at all."
So we're not far off from these
you're
truths.
Gonna put that up?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of the better examples I've had of the reptilians for a while. I got to share my screen. Share that and that. Thank you. There we go. Let's go full screen with that. So when I described these guys, I said, let's see if I can make it more. I said they're so muscular. It was almost like they were bursting out, and you could see the muscle in the sculpture and how the face is. it's just like any one of those creatures we've seen since we're children, kind of like the Slee Stack,
Oh, from the Land of the
Land of the
Lost.
Conan fights the reptilians, the Snake
Yeah,
Men,
the Snake Men.
right? Ninja Turtles fight, or the Thundercats.
Oh, do you have that other one?
Yes. So the Thundercats fight Mum-Ra, who's a demon, who he's like, oh, weak and pathetic, and then changes into the demon, right? Because he does the magic spell. But his boy is the Lizard Man. I don't remember his name. Anyway, so it looks just like these characters, but this is one of the better representations of what they look like. When I saw him, they didn't have the chicken on his head naturally, and they wasn't really wearing a tunic like that. It was a little bigger, but there's class of them, and there's all different kinds of them.
Right.
But this one is, other than the Lizard in Spider-Man 2, the Amazing Spider-Man movie, or whatever it was, that the Lizard in that movie mixed with this lizard and the sculpting of this would match pretty perfect.
Right.
You know, and making it a little more green instead of. So this is, what is this, UFO Holic? I can't see the screen. UFOholic.com is talking about the Peruvian city, the capital of friendship, and it has monuments dedicated to the ancient god. I don't want to say his name, but the reptilian. So then there's pictures of it from a different angle. Now we talk about chimeras. Chimera, the half horse, half man.
Iguana Man, yeah.
Yeah, the iguana man, or the angel. An angel would be that, but it would be like an animal mixture with man. Now they also have this guy.
Wow.
Right? We've heard of all different kind of beings, right? We've just seen this. Now this is up for a while. Now, where have we seen guys like this, Paula? Do you remember?
That's a Ninja Turtle. Could be.
It could be a ninja. Yes, it can be. It's Crabor or something from He-Man or Snapfinger or, you know, Grab Claw. We also saw these kind of guys in the Aquaman movie, right? They were fighting at the end. They run out with the shells. They were a little more animal-y than this guy, but not much different.
Right.
We hear about these things, and the time before this time was like a Pangea. Where you had the half man, half goat running around. Right. You know, where the plant can get up and uproot itself, eat meat because it has teeth, and then reroot itself in the sun where it needs to. Right? So how far off are we from this actually coming into commonplace as they're building half pig, half sheep, or, you know, as they're mixing and moving and turning and churning?
It's already happening.
This is what comes out of that, guys. This is the DNA activated in a humanoid system. So like in this universe, let's say most things have that shell of the humanoid. Right. So you get a head, arms, legs, and then variations across that. Multiple arms, multiple legs, but everyone's walking for the most part upright and is fully aware and conscious. Everything from a caveman type personality to that thing coming out of a UFO or walking out of a hole in inner earth. Where are we mentally before this starts happening, before this gets shown to us, before the process goes from, well, it's Republican, Democrat. We've
been programmed to accept seeing something like that.
So you
firmly believe.
This is what I said. You want aliens? You want UFOs? Yeah. You want this? Well, you know, that's what comes along with it. Right. Gray little tweakers and all kinds of weird stuff. And also these kind of guys. Right. But is it spaceships and stuff? Is it interdimensional, or is it just inner Earth? Like, have they come from another place and come in and started taking over? Well, does it matter?
It doesn't matter, because we'll still be used to seeing it. We won't be shocked and horrified to see it.
They made the movie with the alien that smoked pot.
Oh, Paul.
And he scares people throughout the movie, but he's just being regular just because he shows up and, oh, it's an alien. and then the shock goes away, and it's almost like a comedy going on,
Right.
and you're like, yo, they're really. And then
Right.
E.T. E.T. frightened me as a kid. You look at his face, and you're like, E.T., go home. And then I'm going, get that thing away from me. Right. And it's like, well, that's what it's like. But then they made it, oh, he loves Reese's Pieces and he wants to give you a hug and turn on your heart light. But it's stuff like this that's out there walking around
With human feet.
Then you hear stories of things like Hercules, where they battle the Chimera or battle the Kraken. I was just watching this on the cartoons earlier. Remember? They're fighting the Kraken with Hercules. Hercules shows up at the Avengers house fighting the Kraken. And I was like, well, that's odd, but he's actually an Avenger. But who is Hercules? Who is Thanos? Who are these characters that are 12 feet tall and who is Thor, the Asgardian? They're all Anunnaki characters. That from which the heavens came, it should be translated that from which walked through a portal from another place and showed up here. Right? So they're all mortal.
Right.
They're Titan class being.
Well, what do they say? They're not gods, but they live thousands of years.
You would think they're gods and give them that nomenclature due to the fact what you believe a god is, although they are 100% mortal, just like you. They just live, 5,000 years. What does they say in Thor? Oh, they believe us to be, they believe us to not be able, they believe we can't be killed. He's like, let's put that to the test. And they try to kill each other. And the truth is they die and they go to Valhalla when they go. And the non-worthy go to Hela. But that's their version of it.
Heaven and hell. Of
heaven and hell. And then what happens after Ragnarok, where they actually go to those places when everyone dies. I was telling you, they're reborn in the comics. They're reborn in human frame now.
Right.
Because they had to bring New Asgard here.
Right.
So what happens when you come here? This is why Anu does not show up on the cloud, because he'll get stuck here in density. Right?
Amnesia.
And then if we just say Anu shows up on the cloud, right? Or this guy, or whatever, and we take him out, his soul, because he's here in this density, has to be birthed back in, or depending on how the cycle's working at this time, maybe he could choose not to come in, but you get pulled here to be in our cycle. So you go from your planet, your place, your wherever you're from, whatever density, and then you come here and now you're trapped. And if you die, when you come back, you're a human.
But you also have to experience time the way we experience it, which is very different than the way everybody else experiences time.
If you come from that time, but then come here, you're also then stuck to the laws of our time.
Right.
So you get sucked into the system, and that's not what they want.
Right.
They don't want to be sucked into the system because they know what's going on. But we're the creator. You're the creator. Okay. These beings are all connected to us, by the way, unless it's being a robot, because anything more than a robot is still source, right? Like a consciousness inside of a AI machine gets to a certain point, that spark that runs through it, that electricity that keeps the computer alive, to keep the AI brain working, that's source. That source is energy in there, right? Like lightning. It doesn't matter if it's powering the robot. Lightning comes from source. So if the lightning spark makes you alive and aware of yourself, then source is in there, no matter what.
Okay.
I do. Do you believe in that a little bit?
I agree.
Like everything is technically source, just experiencing itself at that level, right? Unless it's an object. And then even inside those objects, source was the wood. Source was the breath of air around the wood, the molecules all around, like everything that's part of everything. So technically it's all there. Pretty crazy. Now, I went on a little tangent there with this, but I got some more stuff to show you. So as we were looking at this, I said, Paula, during the experience where the space gorilla was in the apartment and I met Bashar in the living room. Oh, there's an alien in my living room, E.T. Oh, Frank, I'm wondering how long it's going to take you to recognize me. And then I come out here, and through the door, as if it was a portal, I saw a being uncurl itself, like curled up in a ball, like the way the cats do.
Mhm.
But it was the alien from the Alien movie, or what it looked like to be an
Mhm.
alien from the Alien movie. So I'm like, yo, you guys are real?
From the movie Alien.
From the movie Alien. Now, mind you, are we creating the things, or are we creating things that we know subconsciously truly exist?
Oh, I think someone saw something and remembered it. And
Okay.
like I said, we didn't have TV, and we didn't even have writing tools, and they remembered it, and they etched it somewhere.
Now,
And that was the only documentation they had of it.
so we look at these
The only
gargoyles,
proof.
right?
Yeah. That looks like the alien that came out of that guy's stomach in the movie Alien with Sigourney Weaver.
Now, we all know what the alien from the Alien movie looks like, right?
Mhm.
I think we could agree on that. Okay. Yeah, Johnny 5 is alive, okay? Just like R2D2, right? You guys got to start thinking on a higher level what's running this thing, what kind of energy is running through the product. It could be synthetic, it could be organic, it's being run. And then it's just accessing emotions or mind. So now you have this thing, and then these things are, this one came out and said, hey, Frank, you're contracted for this, and this. And I said, get out of my home. Don't ever let me see you here again, or I'm going to come back into that portal with you. I'm going to follow you in there.
Right.
And I'm going to transmute every single thing that's a part of you and connected to you in any way. And they were like, no, you can't do that. And I go, oh, look, Mr. Big and Scary, who's not that big and scary, by the way, once you get into that with them, because I'm going in as the all, going, oh, look at this thing. No, well, you're not taking me. You're not eating me. You're not laying an egg in my throat and popping out of my chest. Like, I don't know. Like, I've only seen you in the Alien movies and in my nightmares. But you're real? Oh, yeah. And it's showing. It's like, no, you're connected. You promised.
Right.
And I'm like, are you demonic? And they're like, do I look demonic to you? And I'm like, well, you're scary. You look more like an insect. Okay. Right. So now we're getting that out of the way. And I'm like, okay, so you're not a demon, or are you well, technically a demon would be like an etheric being just from a lower density that was doing dark stuff. Right. And I'm like, yeah, eating life force and stuff like that. Okay. So we feed on that as well. And I go, you guys have spaceships though. This is the thing. Like, you have spaceships and stuff. You're not just animals in the wild. You're like conscious, alive. You understand what you're doing, and you're purposely doing it. Now you're coming here to argue points with me in my living room because I'm aware of you being in the room, because now I'm under the psychedelic that allows me access. And it was like, yep. I go, okay, don't ever come back. Ever. Don't ever let me see you again. So now I'm trying to explain this to people, and it's right there on the wall. Where are you getting these ideas from? Are you getting the idea, H.R. Geiger or whatever? Or is he looking at this and then taking it from there and then adding the twists and turns? But as he's doing that in his mind's eye, thinking how the creature would look and how it would move and how it would slither and how it would hiss, it's really the creature there in the background that he's peering into what it really is.
Right.
And then he's just drawing it.
But during the creation of the movie Aliens, I don't believe the internet was out there yet.
Oh, explain this too.
So if you wanted to see a piece of artwork like that, you would have to see it in a book or in a gallery or a museum. You'd have to go somewhere and physically search out those pictures, because that was before the internet was up and running, was created, I think. What year did the...
Oh, for sure.
80s,
no,
right?
For sure. It was the early 80s.
Right.
Might even been 79.
Right. So there is no scanning the internet for a creative idea.
You have to go to a library and see
go
that
to a
in
library
a book.
and look it up and know what you were looking for.
But see, here's the thing. It's there. So it's
But it is
never
there.
not been there.
But it is there. It's always been there. Every thought has already been conceived.
Right. So we're thinking, oh, what a cool comic book and movie and Sigourney Weaver. And meanwhile, these things are running around in contracts with us here.
Right.
Right. So it's not even whether it's demonic or it's this. What is its agenda? What does it do? Who is your daddy and what does he do? And then from there, we take it from there. And these things are there floating around. And I mean, so Paula, you said this to me the other day. You know, they saw it and they drew it.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the picture of that or the statue of that right next to the statue of a man. And you say, well, we know the man was there. And then there was the bird-headed man, right? Like when you go to ancient Egypt and you see the beings are 15 feet tall and this and that. Those are the Anunnaki that we speak of.
There was no stimulation. There was no television. There was no internet. You had your mind, and there was very little to see beyond your horizon.
But that also made it easier to be spiritual.
But that's what I'm saying. So when you're connected and you're seeing these beings, the only thing you have is your memory and your mind, and you're committing as much of that shit as you possibly can to your memory, and you're documenting it the best way you know how, which is writing on a wall.
Yes.
Or doing
why
an
would
etching.
they draw? Why would they draw right next to, like, the picture of the buffalo migrating, right, where they follow the buffalo? Why would they draw a UFO?
Because it's an activity. It's something that's happening during the course of their day. It's
they actually see that.
Yes.
Right. So they don't have to exaggerate. It's just what's there.
Correct.
Right. It's not like they're doing test papers and putting that
air,
in the.
I just.
And just pushing the like inside the pyramid. They're not doing all that delicious perfection work, and then it's not real in any way, shape, or form. Like I wouldn't understand that. Like it's literally what they saw. So you got the rock painting showing you.
Right.
You got the ant people over here. Then over here you got the bird-headed beings mixed with the dog-headed beings, mixed with this, mixed with that, mixed with the snake men. Why is this so hard to believe?
Right.
Being that they're all big.
Tools.
Right.
Yeah.
But you'll believe that Jesus walked on water. But that couldn't possibly exist. A 12-foot man that helped create bodies
in
the shape of them to be smaller,
couldn't
to be
possibly
can't be there. Well, the Smurfs are there though. Well, then okay, we got Smurfs, but Snorks, come on, Frank, Fraggles, Doozers, Dark Crystal, like all of a sudden that's out of the range. Fairies are out of the range. You go take a nice big hit of DMT or eat magic mushrooms in the forest, and you say fairies aren't real, and watch what happens. Watch what happens. You say, fairies, are you real? Come show me right now. And you'll be like, wow, I wish I could turn this off because I'm surrounded by them. Because all you have to do is be like, look, I'm ready for the magic. I'm not here for you to be a clown show to show off to me. I truly am ready to expand into my awareness and believe that it is now time. I mean, once you see it once, then you're like, oh, okay. And then you see it again, and you see it again, and you see it again. And then you see this alien thing coming out of the wall. You see all the gargoyles. And look at this one over here. This kind of looks like Gizmo's face right here. Right? From,
yeah, it does. It does.
Okay. So that looks like, what's the name of the movie Gizmo's from? The Gremlins. Okay. So there you go. You got something that looks just like the character. Once again,
that looks like a mouse. That looks like a cat with a fish. It is a cat with a fish. Okay.
As I'm looking at that, it almost has that Cheshire cat thing going on.
Mm-hmm. But that one's actually eating a fish. That's a bird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, naturally, some stuff's going to be, to me, it's just chimera, right? The distortion. These are all distortions. They're supposed to scare off others, like the dragons and stuff. So there's all different things, but it's already been there. It's already, It's on the writings on the wall. The stories are there about them. It's just that those that wish to dominate do not want us to believe anything else exists outside of this system, because the system is a system of control meant to hold you down and lock you into a state of purgatory.
Right.
So you don't continue.
Right.
But that process can be stalled. It cannot be stopped. Because then that would say that, well, you're not coming. So you're definitely not coming, whatever happens, whether it's internally or externally, whether Jesus lands or not, you can't go. That's a lie. Everyone gets it when you're ready for it to happen.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Because you can't receive it if you don't think you're worthy of it.
That's what I'm saying.
But
You
it's the
have to
same
become the story,
Right.
the hero
It's
in the
same
story.
thing. Yeah. You're not your story. You have to accept it if you think it's going to come. You have to think you're worthy of it.
I know this sounds weird, but it's a mind game, because it's all
But it's all in your head.
to keep you in a 4% lockdown.
But everything.
And then this stuff's running around.
But nothing is.
Look. Here's the alien. So that's what it looks like. And then you have the thing. Yeah. It looks just like this. Just like this one right here. Just like that. And it plays out in our pop culture.
Exactly.
But just like everything else too, like the Force in Star Wars, it's the universe conspiring for you. The universe rewards bravery.
If you
the
can
Force.
tap into it, if you can tap into the Force, what happens if you can't connect to the Force? Your lightsaber does not work.
Or your powers are just shut down. I wouldn't want to swing a lightsaber if I didn't have the Force power itself, because that would definitely lose an appendage.
Think about it.
I would chase you first. I'd turn it on. Ah. Just kidding. But so everything from pop culture, like time travel with Marty McFly, or even with the cartoons today, Rick and Morty, to be doing DMT and jumping through portals and it's a joke on the reality of it that you're not paying attention to, and it's a cartoon, because this whole place is like a giant cartoon.
It was a cartoon in the 40s with Bugs Bunny when they were selling black holes as portals.
Yes, and then the guy would hide from his wife.
And then he'd stick a black hole on the wall, and he could rob a bank, and then he could take the hole with him when he goes. Okay, it's like that. Okay, they're telling you, but they're telling you in a cartoon.
Oh boy! So it's reality added to the cartoon, so it seems for us, but it also keeps it in the gnosis for when it does arrive. Like,
but isn't that
we love Star Wars? Why do we love Star Wars? Isn't that an
interrogation tactic?
It's all tactics.
Don't you make someone feel very comfortable so that they want to tell you the truth? And isn't that also a tactic? You tell as truthful a story as you can when you have to lie.
Yeah, you give them 80% truth.
So I'm giving you the truth. You're choosing not to believe it. That's that show we watch on Netflix, Lucifer. He's telling you he's the devil. He's telling you who he is and what he's about. It's you're choosing to believe him or not.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The reality is the reality. It's really him. And of course, you're laughing. It's a dude with an accent, and you're like, whatever. But he's telling you, because he's got to tell you.
Right. He's telling you the truth.
The devil. He's going to go and say what it is.
When things aren't going your way and you're pushing that boulder uphill.
Whether you believe it or not, it exists. So
why do you want to push it up? It's heavy. Like, get out of the way and let it roll back down.
Jesus, I get it though. With my brother going,
Frank gets it. Frank understands now. Stop fighting against the current.
See, and I don't fear none of this stuff. I watch Star Wars and Avengers and comic books. Yay, whatever. Right? What does the Justice League have? It has somebody from everywhere. There's a green guy. There's a blue guy. There's a robot guy. then you got the Avengers. What do you got? You got an Anunnaki guy, you got this guy, you got that guy, portals, time travel, you got all that. Yeah, I get it, right? But I enjoy it for what it is and realize what they're doing. They're pumping it because like something like Star Wars, the more you watch these shows, everyone's just chimera, ET, interdimensional, time travel, portal, whatever. You just add to it as you go and mix in what you want to do.
Right.
Right. And it's getting to be like, well, of course. Why wouldn't the guy under the helmet have horns? I mean, why not? Why wouldn't the guy have a lightsaber and grow wings? I mean, you're getting so used to these characters and
Right.
they're being shown over and
But this
over
is
and
what your
over. And what do
life
they
is
really look
supposed to
like? The guys
be.
that play the flute in Star Wars look like the Greys. They're just taller, but they look exactly like it.
But that's how life is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a little
So
bit
art
of,
imitating life, life imitating art.
but it is supposed to be a little reality and a little non-reality. It's supposed to be a little surreal, and it's supposed to be a little bit magic, and you are supposed to have faith, and you are supposed to be able to trust your gut. But we have to tune out all that bullshit outside noise. Other people's opinion of you doesn't matter. They're not paying your bills. They're not sending your kids to school. Okay? They're not making your car payments. They're not paying your rent. Get them out of your head, because it's all distortion. It's like what the people are talking about in the chat room. It's all distortion. No one's opinion of you is going to be correct, because no one knows the real you but you, because we choose to show certain people certain sides of us, and it's just the way it is because of the reality that we need to live in. I put the oven on because I'm going to put French fries on.
We wear masks, but now the masks are coming off.
They are coming off, and people are having a problem with what they're seeing because what they're being reflected back they don't like, and it's possibility, it's hope. I don't have to do it your way. I can do it my way and be correct. You know, we want Frank's mom with us, but in her mind, I believe she only thinks there's one way it can happen.
Yeah, it can only happen if we do things this way. And it's like, no,
and
there's a million ways
a million ways it can happen, and a million ways that we can get there.
And worrying ain't going to get.
But she is not even ready to explore the possibility because she's not there yet.
Yeah, the old suit takes longer to get there. Remember, she's just a good person living her life and going through. We're trying to just help the struggle, help her see that it's not going to be the ultimate struggle, but she's in the old outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the human avatar itself is the one before us.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's not capable of the grasping of it as quickly as what I'm getting at is someone like in this round,
mm-hmm.
whereas the kids that come in grab it in 2 seconds and run with it.
Right.
Which is why my grandparents, they would hear about this and just lose their breath over it. It just can't even be considered. Like, this can't be real. None of this can be real. But this is where we're going. And now another thing, we spoke about creatures, different beings. We all know what the basic guys look like, the grays and the whatevers, the tall blondes or whatever. Let's cut it back a little bit and think about, the UFOs that we see in the sky could possibly be us, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. I believe
most likely.
Trump's got a space force coming and everyone's laughing about it.
I think it's been here.
It has been here. That's the secret space program. All right. It's split into 2 parts. You get your bad guys, you get your good guys, but everybody's good guy to themselves because nobody sees themselves as those guys, even the villains. The villains see themselves as the hero. So it's been split after split, but the literal ones, like they're like GI Joe guys that are part of this, are now allowed to start releasing information on what it actually is. So while people are laughing, a buddy of mine, excuse me, sent me this. United States Patent Applications Publications. Now, when I talked to you about the sonic weapons, we did this. I said, hey, there's white papers on the actual thing, the ET lifted up, put in my face, turned on, what it does, how it works, and I had no idea prior to that. And I looked it up after I reported it to you guys, reported to you what happened to me. I had to know more once I went through the process. So I was showing Paula this. Here's your patent application for your black triangle. All right, I want you guys to just take a look at this because this is what's out there.
Right.
It's
scary.
Now, as I scroll through this, I don't know what a lot of this is saying, right? Well, what does that mean? A, D, C, B, D. Is that the way it moves? Because it just flies through the air. It skips through the air. How does it do that? Well, it seems to use some kind of cube pattern with these things in it. Like, that's what it is to me. But where have we seen this? Where have we seen this right here? The cosmic cube, the tesseract.
Yeah.
Right? He who holds the cube holds the power. So they're literally showing it to you because the ones that are in power, to stay in power, in that satanic kind of weirdo area where they're using black magic, they have to show you the cube of power, of destiny, of whatever they decide to call it. They could hide it in plain sight, but they have to tell you they're going to use it. And they're going to use it because that's what they're going to do. And they're going to use it on you. They're going to use it on this, but you're not going to get it. If anything, you'll get the after effects of me using it on you. Well, there's your cube right there. The cube makes it do its stuff. And then you got some information here. Now I'll give you guys the link to this. I posted it up in the FearLess family room, July 6th, 2006. So Paula, what did you say to me when I told you, oh, this was during that time? You said it was around long before that.
Oh, I believe so. I believe so.
All right. So if you're in the chat room, I'll post this link right now. But then wait, there's more. From there, another guy from the FearLess family said, hey, check this out. Sorry, I'm going to go up real quick. Patents by inventor John Quincy St. Clair, right? Chi energy amplifier, right? A chi energy amplifier that utilizes a co-gravitational K field to generate a flow of hyperspace energy into our ceramic dome containing a slot antenna. Right? Now, I don't know, but does anyone else know? But this is a patent for that. And these things work, by the way. They're being released now, and it comes from 2007. Magnetic, what is that? Monopole spacecraft's propulsion system that utilizes a dual method for providing lift on the hull by means of magnetic monopoles and electromagnetic space-time curvature pressure. 2005, which means this stuff was all done way before this.
Right.
Wait, it gets better. Oil hyperspace energy generator that works through creating wormholes between space and hyperspace for the purpose of permeating the hull of a spacecraft with a low density hyperspace energy. 2003. Hyperspace energy generator. Wait, hyperspace energy generator. Wait, why does this sound like suddenly we're in Star Trek?
Right.
Right. So it generates hyperspace energy by coupling to a tetrahedral geometry of subspace dimension and the Planck mass. 2003.
Which is what Tony Stark talks about in Endgame.
Tony Stark talks about in Endgame. Look at that. So they've been letting it out, right? When he shows up, I got the working thing. It works through this. Let me guess, you were pushing time through him instead of pushing him through time. Very dangerous. Luckily, I was here for you. And then you're like, oh, it's just him being Tony Stark. They just wrote that in. And isn't it funny?
Specifically mentions the Planck mass.
Isn't that funny how it's all related?
But it is all related.
So now
it is. If
that clue is just there for you to pick up in front of everyone and show them, look, it's right there with Iron Man.
We can tie everything back to a movie or a cartoon or a book
But
or
why
a
is
story.
that? Is it on purpose? Because people that write it go, no, it's not on
I
purpose.
think it is on purpose.
But it's almost like the divine message comes through.
I think the world was a lot smaller then. I think that the reason that people say that these gods or Anunnaki have been seen throughout the world, I think the stories are so similar because they are the same people. I think it was easier to get to those masses of people than it is now. There were much fewer people in the world.
More controllable mass of people, and now it's just out of control.
Nothing needed to be controlled yet.
Interest. Yeah. It was just kind of do your thing.
Yeah, live.
And then it started getting, the DNA mixing started getting out of control. And then when something's not in the light anymore, so to speak, as metaphorically, they start feeding on them, whatever's around them. It'll go from, well, we never ate each other to everyone's eating each other, And it's like, well, how could the lion live with the man and not eat the goat and have the cat on its back and the man walking naked by it, right?
All the chemicals that they're telling you now that have been in our food for the last 40 or 50 years, they're finding out now are terrible for you, cancer causing. They're finding out the deals that were made with the FDA when the FDA was first started. They're finding out all the deals that were made with Big Pharma. They're finding out that people were lying about sugar from the beginning and how bad it is for us. And they were blaming fat when it's actually better to have animal protein. Some people feel.
Like I said, I've never felt better than when I have a delicious steak.
Right. Don't throw me off. There are alternative ways to do things, and we're finding out the things that have been killing us. Those things have only been created in the last 30, 40, 50 years or so. Do you know? I mean, it's not good to have something that lasts as long as it does in your cabinet. Food is not supposed to last that long. The thing that's holding it together isn't supposed to be able to do that for that long. That can't be good to ingest, all of that, but we're finding out now. So a lot of that knowledge was learned in a very short period of time. And I think if we didn't do what we did with the atomic bomb, the shift wouldn't even need to happen.
Well, we would have.
I think it's been in
just
place.
Evolved.
I think it's been in place way before then. That where humans were aware of what's happening and they know something needs to change.
Well, if the plan went by the dark into the light to do a certain thing, be for sure that the light had a plan already knowing that was going to occur.
Oh, without
so
question.
Then as one starts to take over and it looks dark and bleak and you're alone, and no, boom, you're not alone anymore.
Without question. Like I said, I don't think we get all the answers until we're no longer here. And unfortunately, that's the game that we're playing, right? We don't get all the answers until we're not here. So we're doing the best we can in the dark with our 4% limited view on the world, okay? That's why, for me in particular, I'm able to take a leap of faith and say, look, there's a lot that I cannot reason away because there's a lot I can't see. So I don't know. I have to take that leap of faith. I want to believe that my life is bigger than this small picture.
And I can't over define the details because I'll get stuck in that and in the minutia of the ridiculous, like how the universe is going to do this.
But
it's like, yo, you got to just let it do it and then live a good life and forget that stuff.
But that's the hardest part. You have to live a good life now, in your now, because nothing can come to you if you're not in the mind of receiving. If you don't believe you're worthy of that thing that you want, it can't come. It can't flow to you because you don't believe yourself. What you're saying and what you're feeling are two different things. that's fully what I believe.
Yeah, well, if you're not in the now moment, when you throw that boomerang out and then you're on the next thought, it comes back, it'll wrap you in the head, or you'll completely miss catching it, or it'll come in and hit you in the wrong spot and you won't be ready for it, or because you move, you're never in that moment.
Right, but it's funny. It's like when you were already on this path, and now you're faced with a dilemma because a promotion is in view for you at your job. Now, had you gone that route and received the promotion, this part of you, the spirituality, the questions, the awareness, that would have to take a back seat, because now your promotion would be the most important thing to you. You'd be focused on that. And the universe said, no, you're supposed to look over here. And you said, no, I want to do this work, and I want to better my life. And the universe said no, and you were fighting, and the universe said, okay, we're going to level the playing field for you. And you trip on a mango at your job.
Terrible, by
with
the way.
with a crate in your hand, I mean, with a crate in your arms. But the universe decided, you need to be taken out of this game because this game is going to harm you. And that's what it did to me. I knew when it was time to go. I was at the height of my career. I could have negotiated a promotion through that discussion about resigning. Okay, if that's what I really wanted, I could have probably negotiated a promotion out of it. Okay, which probably would have got me one step further away from some of the people I didn't want to work with anymore, but it wouldn't have got me far enough away. And I realized, and I was thankful that I realized it was time for me to go when I did. Because once those wheels were set into motion, I didn't look back once. And I'm grateful, because I think I definitely would have been, I don't know what would have happened to me by now, because my doctor said I can't go with you on this ride anymore. I can't support you.
Well, you continuously
You're
break
running
down
yourself into the ground
until you're alone.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything.
You're sleeping and working, and you come to see me. I can't condone this life. And what kind of quality of life is that? And it was hard. It was hard saying goodbye to my salary, and it was hard saying goodbye to that type of life that I lived. But now I realize it was probably the best thing I ever did for myself. Now, had I listened to everyone that tried to talk me out of it, maybe if I was a different person, it would have worked. Maybe because I had the idea and didn't discuss it or share it with anyone prior. I know that was the best thing I could have done, because if I would have discussed it with one person, that one person would have had 5 people trying to talk me out of it, because other people think they know what makes you happy. And they really don't, because they really don't even know the real you. They know the part of you they think they know from a version of yourself. And it's a little scary. Like it
Those that
it
don't
really
move ahead
is.
continuously see you as your old self.
Like your mom. I love your mom, and I want her to be with us. I want her to live with us, but she's got to understand that there's more than one way that things can happen, and that mama doesn't have to handle the situation directly, because Frankie's not little Frankie from a teenager. Frankie's almost 50 years old now. And Frankie is with a responsible enough woman that would never lead him into harm. And she has to trust that. And that's her, I think that's her little leap of faith that she needs to have now.
Everyone has their own.
No, I totally agree with that.
usually-
But I think that's where she needs to go now. She has to trust us. And I think
Well,
that's
because
a
we're not
little
little.
hard.
This is what it comes down to. People grow up, right? And you may see them as stupid, right? Like, oh, they're still dumb kids or something. But you grow up and you become this age and you are manifesting your reality. You're doing all these things.
Right.
And then you get to a point of da-da, and it's still that connection's there
Because
to,
people
of
don't
worry
believe it.
and
That people don't
you're
believe
still
that
little dummy.
that
And
you don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to choose this or that. Yes, everything is difficult and it comes with a price. Yes. And we must work hard for the things we want. Yes. But we don't have to kill ourselves. Because if we're killing ourselves and we're sacrificing, we really have to think, is that thing worth it? Is it? Or is it not? Because for me, it's time. Because time is slipping away. I can't believe 2019 is almost over. I'm experiencing time so differently now. And maybe it's because I'm getting older. I don't know.
how does time feel to you?
Like it's going by very fast. The days and the hours go by. They're moving by very quickly. And, I try very hard, and because you see it, I try very hard to
What
live
do you
my.
think comes out of this? Like, if you're in time and it's speeding up, what do you think happens, and what's happening with time? Do you think eventually it'll just keep speeding up, or you'll pop out of it because now it's almost like as you're getting finished with it, it starts speeding up and you're aware of it. You're like, what the hell's going on? And then
I don't know. I really don't know.
Separation I was talking about. It all comes back to something that it revolves around. Well, we don't know what happens at that point. We just don't know. Right. But what I do know is that pulling in these positive timelines, our optimum time, like, so Paula and I pull in ours. I pull in mine. She pulls in hers. We pull in ours. Right. And we begin to do it. It's like blasting off in a rocket ship. And then the similar things, like the stuff we were just looking at, right, we start saying, well, they're hiding technology, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, okay, let's stop complaining. We're not victims, we're creators. All of a sudden, boom, we manifest the timeline where, okay, time's up, bitches, it's time to see the information. Rotor in something propulsion system, electromagnetic field propulsion vehicles, rotating propulsion systems. There's one I want to, here it is. Magnetic vortex wormhole generator. Filed in 2002.
Right.
It's a Paula, crazy, right?
No, see,
it's a hit, right? Because it's really there. It's really part of the system.
Because you have to accept it all. So this is what I mean. This is like,
we're bringing this into our.
You have to open your
away
mind
from the dark
a
into
little
the
bit.
light.
Yeah, because this is part of your reality, whether you realize it or not. You can say it's not part of your immediate reality, but this is part of our reality. This is happening. This has been happening. This has already happened, because time is not linear. It's concentric. It's always happening. So your past, your present, and your future are all basically happening at the same time. That's why when we say every thought has been thought, everything has been done, it has, because it's always now. So this, you have to look upon this, and you have to take it with a leap of faith, because it's a lot to process. But it's the same thing as believing in anything that's not human. Anything that's not human, or anything that is not known to us, we consider alien. People from Canada, we consider alien to us because they're from Canada. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
The word alien means so many different things to so many different people based on what their perception of alien is. But like looking at these patents, like people shouldn't be surprised by this information at all.
Well, I'm thinking, as I'm reading this, as you're saying what you're saying, and I'm going, my mind is blown because I'm reading it and I'm seeing it. We're talking about it. It's out there. Here It is. You guys want it. The media, CNN ain't going to tell you this stuff, guys. Right? We are the media now. the people doing stuff.
Sharing things on the internet, and
Okay.
that's basically what it was designed for, to share.
Sonic
share
weapons real?
information. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up, and then
I'm
I look.
sure
in
it
5
is.
minutes, I find white
Of course.
papers on it.
Of
Look, here you
course.
go, buddy. It's real.
right, because nothing can be hidden now.
What do you mean it's real? So I'm not. I was hoping on a wing and a prayer. You might be a little nuts.
Right.
Just something that be like, yeah, that was a little too far, Frank. No, here it is. And as a matter of fact, they use it. They can walk through walls.
Right.
They can see you from 3 miles away through the wall and make you hit the floor with a heart attack. Okay, so this would be like something like Stargate, something like in the first Avengers movie, when they're like, the door works 2 ways, and then boom, Loki comes flying out of the portal, and it was a wormhole, which was the Rainbow Bridge. Actually,
it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon from the 40s.
It's
and the
real.
50s. Yeah, it's real.
Okay, so this is why I say all the time now, because if you were blank and you were like, well, this exists, but that other stuff isn't, and then this drops in your lap, and this will blow your friggin' mind out of the water.
But this is what I'm saying.
Right? So you need to be able to keep that open thing and go, well, yeah, of course that's real. Well, how else would I travel from here to there? Of course a portal would need to open and the creator walks through it to the other side. Like,
it's not even that difficult. Frankie, we have more technology in our cell phones than the first space shuttle had when it left the atmosphere.
That was all done on purpose, though.
But whether it went to the moon or not, it left the atmosphere, right? So there's something to be said for that. But it had, our cell phones today have more technology than that.
Paula, chi energy amplifier is like Iron Fist, who amplifies his chi in the punch.
Exactly, but this is what I'm saying.
So if you were wearing like a wrist bracelet with that attached to it, would you be able to charge your chi and throw down with like a crew of people?
Absolutely, if you knew how to work your body. Absolutely.
That's crazy, right? Or not? This is the future, but this is the now. Everything exists, like Paul was saying.
But
it's
you
now,
have to believe it all,
right? And it's all there.
You don't have to
pull in the best for us.
You don't have to unwillingly accept it. You have to take into consideration that time here is very different than time in other places, and that technology is always something that will be shared. It's always something that was shared, and it's always something that will be shared, so if you can think it, it's already been done, and
it's just got to play out in time.
Exactly. I mean, we've won world wars. Wars are not just won with guns. There has to be some technology behind that. There's too much. We've evolved too much. I think that's the problem.
I haven't evolved enough. I'm ready to go to stage 25.
But that takes time.
That's what it is. We're in a density in that area. Time reacts this way. Right. So as things filter down, we're pulling. We're anchored to Earth, and pulling in the timeline we want.
Yes, and if it's very dense here, and it's very heavy here, and there's a lot of stimulation here. And just to break that mindset, I mean, how difficult it was to me just to come to terms with the idea that I didn't want to work anymore. And I talked about, and I did go back to work. I went back to work for the better part of a year, and then I had to leave. And then I talked to Frank for a whole year about going back to work, but I physically couldn't do it. And I have just come to peace with the fact that I may not be able to work. And, that was it still is a difficult and uncomfortable issue with me, because I've always worked. But there's a different type of work that needs to be done. The universe wants me to do a different type of work. And I understand that now. And I'm okay with that now, because I am living
But
the
it's your
life I
optimum happiness is coming more.
But it
even though
is.
you're already happy, because I'm already happy.
But
Of
what do
course,
we
then the
do?
universe surprises you with more happiness.
Absolutely.
That's how this
You know,
works.
we rescue cats. That's what we do.
You're worthy.
You know, I feel a sense of fullness that I've never felt before, you know, and it might not be your cup of tea, and I don't care.
Yes,
You know, and I mean that, and I don't mean that as terribly as it sounds. I mean, you know, you live your best life and let me live my best life. You know, I mean, what works for me is definitely not going to work for everyone, you know, but it works for me, so let me live. And I don't think that's a lot to ask. I don't encroach on your space and how you should live.
Yeah, definitely get
You
out of
know,
mine.
I just want to be, I just want to be left alone in my space. And you know, so far we've been very good at at maintaining that, you know. um when you give people an opinion about your life, when you allow them to have an opinion, they of course will always have an opinion. You know, you don't need, like, it's like Frank says all the time, I don't need permission. I don't need
your
your
permission anymore.
permission.
I'm not hurting you. I'm not harming anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I want to do. Show me on a piece of paper. I'm going to draw a picture of you.
Right.
Now show me where I hurt you on this picture.
Right.
Well, you're not supposed to be doing it. Show me
Right.
on the picture where I'm hurting you.
Don't worry about me so much.
Yo, check
you
it
know?
out. I didn't notice this before on this picture I had put up.
Right.
Alien designer H.R. Geiger. That's the guy who designs the aliens. I'm afraid of my visions. Well, it's because they're there, really next to you, and you're drawing them. However, it comes out through your creativity.
Right. However it comes
they're
out.
standing there for you.
Yeah, they're waiting
To show you what we look like, and subconsciously
because
you're
it's
picking
all
it up and just
because
doing
it's
it.
all a manifestation. So anything that your senses are picking up, that's why it's very important. You know, like there's some, you know, we're hit, everything is sensory. You know, you want the news, you go online and you get the news in 10 seconds, and you know, we don't have to wait for information now. And it's kind of terrible, because the first piece of information we see and read is the first piece of information we believe. You know, even though something can come out and contradict it, you know, you tend to believe the first thing that you see. You know, we're very visual. We want the information quickly. We have to close all of that out, you know, because like I said, you know, having other people, you know, giving other people an opinion into your life, you're asking for someone to tell you what they believe, you know, and now you have a choice whether or not you want to, you know, whether or not you choose to accept it. You know, you have a choice. Do you want to live the way they want you to live, or do you want to live the way you want to live? There's nothing wrong with living the way you want to live. You know, the noises inside your head, we already talked about this earlier. We know that all of the voices inside your head are not necessarily yours. Why would you put voices in your head? Why would you allow everyone to have an opinion and put those opinions into your head? It's hard enough to make a decision. It's hard enough for one person to make a decision. You know, how many thoughts go into one decision that needs to be made? How many factors go into one decision?
You see me just ordering something online.
But that's what I'm saying. So how
this
long
whole
do you have to
ritual.
deliberate in your own mind to make one decision? And now you're allowing people into your decision making, and you're allowing everyone to have an opinion. So now you're giving people the right to have an opinion, right? So you're giving them the right to also have a feeling about the opinion. Do you know? And then you have to take all of that into consideration. Well, you don't. You know, like Frank and I, you know, if you don't pay my bills, then you don't have an opinion on how I live. You know, if you're gladly writing me a check every month, then fine, I'll take into consideration what your opinion is. But until that day happens, I don't want your opinion. You know, you don't ask people that don't have money questions about money.
If you ain't got no spirit, I'm not going to ask you nothing spiritual.
Yeah, you know, you don't do it. You know, you just listen to the voice inside your own head, you know, and then you seek out like-minded people. That's what the FearLess group is about. You know, you want to bounce an idea off someone. You want
Without
their
people like
their
saying,
opinion.
well, you're that way
yeah,
or this way.
without judgment. Come here, have the conversation here. You know, there's no judgment. You know, if you feel like you're being judged, mention it. You know, and then the judging will stop. You know, it goes by so quickly. Live your best life, whatever it is, whatever you want. I just want to be left alone, like really. And you know, it sounds silly, and people are like, "Oh, Paula, that's all you want." I do. I want to be left alone to live my life,
And whatever that entails for us,
whatever that does entail. You
that's
know,
just it.
that's
We
it.
don't need your permission for.
Yeah,
and
just let
we're
me
here.
live.
Look, we're over here. Okay, we're here. We're alive. We're living, and we want to be part of the
Yeah,
community. But
you know, let me live.
mind your business.
And I don't think that's a lot to ask. You know, I really don't. I don't think that's a lot to ask. And if people are not okay with that, then they're not. Then they're not your people. You know, like we clearly have. Oh, that's so sweet. But you have your people, and you know who they are, and you know, like, you know, Frank and I say it all the time. All you really need is one person. If you have one person that believes in you, or that can understand you, or that can relate to you, all you need is that one person, and you'll be okay. You know, and you really do have to have faith. Just have faith. You know, if it didn't work the old way, why is it going to work now? You have to do something different. You know, Frank hates paperwork. I hate paperwork. You know, it's just the way it is. You know, we don't put ourselves in a position where we have a lot of paperwork. You know, you attract the thing that you hate the most, you know, by bringing it into your reality.
Yes.
You know, and you can attract the things that you love the most also, you know, but people don't think that's easy. You know, people are like, oh, well, it can't be all rainbows and kittens. Why not? Why can't it be? Why does a trip to the supermarket have to be a nightmare? You know,
yeah, why does it always have to be? It's like, well, it doesn't.
It doesn't. You know, just go when it's convenient for you. You know, Frank and I are on weird sleep schedules. I'm an early sleeper and I'm an early riser, and Frank's a late sleeper and a late riser. And you know, it's something that's not going to change. I mean, it's been almost 5 years, and you know, there's a couple of times when we sync up together and it's great, but other times no. So, you know, we do things at, you know, at off times, and it works for us. It's not bothering me. So if it doesn't bother me, it shouldn't bother you. And you know, that's honestly how I feel about it. You know, I don't have to explain why I do something the way I do it. I took ownership of my life again, and it feels good. You know, I had too many people had an opinion in what happened in my life. And you know, Frank and I, we always play this 6 degrees of separation game, because we knew all the same people growing up. And it came up again the day after Christmas. It came up, and I said to Frank, how odd is it that this game keeps coming up with people in our lives? And he said, it's just the universe telling us once again, you know,
it was a heist. We were right in front of each other the whole time. Never once saw each
never
other.
saw each other.
And
you know,
so
and now
weird,
it's
right?
like 20, it's more than that. It's like 30. For you, it's like 30 years from the fact, you know. And I think it's weird, you know, people that we knew in our past that knew both of us, but we didn't know each other. I just think it's very strange.
That is weird, right? But that's how this works.
It is.
It's
It's
weird,
just very strange.
it's,
Yeah.
that's
It's
the surprise the universe generates through source, sends through the universe, manifesting through you, the absolute possibility of it being the greatest experience.
That's why you have to
just
be
have to have
open to it, and you have to
faith.
believe. You do have to have faith. I tell you all the time, and you're like, Joe, if you tell me one more time.
Yeah, but I'm joking with you at this point.
No. At this point,
you're right.
But in the beginning, you were like, if you tell me one more time, Paula, if you tell me to have faith one more time, I'm gonna walk out of the door. I'm gonna walk out of this house. And I just look at you, and now it's not a problem, but before it was a real struggle, if you remember. And I'm like, please just trust me.
That's so crazy.
But it is.
right? What's crazy? The beings running around are having faith that you are the all and you are the creator, and that these things are actually scared of you.
I guess it depends on how you handle the information.
Look,
you're being
bang.
given. I mean, it's all terrifying.
Remember the thing I showed you before, guys? Hey, don't feed it after midnight. It becomes the demon monster.
That's how I feel sometimes.
I feel like this guy. Zordon. Just kidding. That one's a joke. But yeah, for real.
So it's the last show of the year. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Have a happy and healthy New Year. Be safe.
Happy New Year, everyone. Go into the new year feeling
light
and like you can and you are
just
worthy.
Say goodbye to it. Say goodbye. You're worth it. Say goodbye.
Don't try to hang on to that old stuff that's keeping you chained in that river.
You don't need it.
Clip.
Let it go.
Whatever that is, you don't need.
Mm-mm.
I'm the creator. I don't need anything. You know why? Because I'm everything. I'll get it. If I'm to have it, it'll be brought through the energies. Why? Because it is so. That's why.
Oh, for you, definitely. Definitely. We see it happen all the time. Definitely.
I can't take it anymore in a good way.
Yeah, it's.
I just talk to her about it.
Mm-hmm.
I say, Paula, this is what happened.
Yep. Yep.
So sometimes we're experiencing it together through our conversations. It's like we're reading each other's minds. And
it's the strangest thing. Strangest thing. Just a little faith.
Hey, yeah. Next show is 2020.
But
Shout outs to KG.
Yeah, but have a happy
I love you,
happy
man.
New Year, everyone. Be safe.
Try a little bit more than you did yesterday. Just I know, Rox. Just put in the energy.
And
you are worth it.
Yeah.
Going into this next round, it's us, dudes. Come on.
Yeah. Just try something different.
You know, sacred masculine, sacred feminine.
Yeah.
Get
try
up.
Something different.
It's time to go. Come on, get up. What does time to go mean? What's not together in your life that you can handle right now?
Little by
I'm
little.
sure there's stuff everywhere. You look around. Oh, I could do this. I could do this. Well,
little
I put that
little.
off. I put this.
Yep.
What are you doing? Is that cluttering stuff up? Because we're going to get rid of it. If not, right? Because it's too much. Let's just.
Yeah. Let's
breathe again.
Yeah.
Okay. From here, I can think.
Mm-hmm.
I can make moves and I can maneuver. And from that great place of the ultimate thought of beautiful frequencies and vibrations and energies, I send you love from the highest realms. And be safe, be happy, love yourself.
Yeah.
And share the love.
Yep.
Yeah, Roxy, they love you too. They send love. Roxy sends her love. See, and don't forget going into the new year that you should stay fearless. And remember, the universe rewards bravery. I love you guys so much. Shout out to the Fearless family. We'll pick up. I got interviews coming now for the Fearless Conversations. It should be pretty good. I got a couple people I'm booking. And I'll surprise you in the new year. Love you guys.
Love you.
Peace out.